Pulp Fiction. I think Samuel L. Jackson did the prayer better.
Oh, for sure.
I'm like, bro.
You got to be at least 6'2" to pull it right and have some bass in your voice to pull that off.
And you had to like, you actually, yeah, yeah, you do. Like, he doesn't got like the preaching voice,
No,
Pete.
and you got to be able to say the word motherfucker. Like, don't put that on social media.
It's already out there now. I'm gonna have to mark this episode explicit. I had to do that
You can
before.
edit it out.
I had to mark it explicit because Rebecca's all up here using the F word. Did you know that in this time period, they say the most pastors in this time period have used the F word than in the past century?
Probably therapeutic. Because y'all are, yeah.
I want to show you guys something someone gave us as a gift to keep us safe, and you tell me, is this a doctor? Yes or no?
Shut up. Stop it. Where did you get that?
This lovely woman at the National Park Service gave it to us so that we keep it safe.
Are you joking? Are you being
I'm not
serious?
joking, I swear to God.
Wait, wait, let me
That
take a
is,
picture of it. Okay, hold it up,
man, you
hold it
can't
up.
be swearing to God while you have a picture of Jesus in your hand.
He knows I'm being honest.
Oh my gosh.
And his sash says, Jesus loves you.
Should I put one of our contributors in the notes as Jesus today or Doctor? Dr. Jesus?
Definitely. Dr. Jesus.
Well, I mean, but Rebecca, you brought it up about the Pope. What do you got to say?
I think I keep wondering if when is it going to be rock bottom? Like what is it going to be that happens that makes people say, okay, we got this wrong, right? And also I read something this week that was like, if you're more offended at the picture than you are his actions over the last however many months or years we've been dealing with him, like that's the bigger problem. And 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 that stuck with me. It's like if you're more offended at the picture than kids in cages or ICE agents snatching people off the street or this long, lengthy laundry list of things, you have got this whole thing wrong. Right. And what's scary to me is what is wrong with our theology, what is wrong with the theology that the, the entire theological framework of an entire generation that this is where we are.
I can't stop giggling.
Off the baby Jesus.
Yeah, Abby sent me a picture of baby Jesus in a hug, and I made a picture I want to show you, and I want to get for the podcast, for the official podcast, I want to get Jenny's reaction to this picture and Rebecca's reaction because I think I sent it to Rebecca, but she didn't respond to me.
Yeah, because I don't have a comment on that. What?
Oh, jeez.
That text was not directed at me. That was for Jenny. That's why I don't have any comment.
It's a picture of a white woman with blonde shoulder length hair holding baby Jesus in a field of wheat.
I think
Saying,
that should probably be the cover of my book.
see, she's giving you that eye like she's like, it's not even frozen this time. She just stayed there.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, it makes me think of years ago, I saw this thing that was like, um, like using the Lord's name in vain. We've been taught to think it means saying like, oh, Jesus Christ, it's like, no, using the Lord's name in vain is when you use God's name to justify horrendous things and like doing things in the name of God that are the antithesis of creator and divine is an interpretation I align with. It's like what we're seeing in the name of a holy war, in the name of a holy nation and a Christian nation. Like all of it is being justified in the name of God, which I think is such a dangerous thing when power and state and religion are together. We see that across the world. Whenever it doesn't matter, like Christianity doesn't have the corner on religion and state being dangerous. It just happens to be that in the United States. But there are plenty of countries around the world that have used their gods or their religions and state power to enact oppression.
I mean, I want to push back. Like, I want to argue with you about that. And what I want to say is that what's happening right now is not even invoking Christianity in the name of something horrific. It's because what it what it purports to be Christianity is at this point it's just ridiculous. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, but I can't actually make that argument with a straight face, right? Because I wonder if, hundreds of years ago when the argument the country was having was about chattel slavery or any other hundreds of things that was done in the name of Christianity, if it was that obvious then, if it was that like this is stupid, why are we even talking about this? This has nothing to do with the gospel. Like, because to me it feels so obvious, like this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And how all these people that I grew up with and people who are mentors and leaders who haven't figured this out, it boggles my mind. But I don't think this is new. I think this is just the latest iteration, and that is really scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
The latest iteration of
The perversion of authentic religious expression, the perversion of it to justify the desires of men, right? Right. I want to say that the perversion is so profound and so obvious that we're not talking about Christianity. I like everything in my body wants to go like, don't even say that because whatever this is not whatever the heck Pete Hegseth said is has nothing to do with the Bible. Like, and it's ridiculous how obvious it is. Like the first time I saw that clip, I rewound it like 3 times because I was like, what book of the Bible did he say? like, like, like I didn't even get through the whole clip. Like he says the verse reference, and I stopped and rewound like 3 times because I was trying to catch the reference. And then I was like, that that is not. I don't know what you just said, but it's not it, right. So I want to say like this is absurd and it's ridiculous, and it's offensive to me as a person of faith, and and I do not think that this is new. My sense is that if we're in 1850, 1860, and or 1619, and the country is having this debate, it was equally absurd then,
hmm.
right? And it was equally obvious then. And so I don't even know what to call this anymore. I don't, we keep talking about, well, it's in people's subconscious and they, you know, I don't, I'm not sure I can buy the argument or make the argument with a straight face anymore that it's this level of deception and I have some compassion for you because of what you don't know. That, like, we're so far past that, it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous to be talking about that was supposed to be me as a doctor. Like, how stupid do I look?
Yeah.
Every kid who has ever went to Sunday school. Every kid that ever slapped something on a felt board in vacation Bible school, Every kid that ever had to participate in an Easter pageant or a Christmas pageant knows good and hell well what that is, right? I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I mean, this is, I don't know if I'm too off subject here, but the first thing that came to mind is like, well, I keep coming back to like, I think there are genuine expressions of what we're calling Christianity, like between us. What I think we are sharing a definition of Christianity. However, I don't think we're in the majority. I don't think the black church is in the majority of how they define Christianity with the majority of quote Christians in the United States. I don't think that's true. And I think well, first thing I thought was like, okay, so I recognize Trump as Jesus in that picture, right? But I'm also like, well, of course everybody sees it as Jesus because he's white. like like we've so blanked out the face of Jesus that Trump can actually fit that quote profile in an AI video. Now, what would have happened, for instance, if Obama had posted himself like that? Would people have assumed he was Jesus? Like, I'm serious. Or would they thought like, oh, maybe he's an angel or something? I don't know.
No.
Like,
I mean, I think your point is well taken, Danielle, about the white imagery, right? But I also think if Obama had put himself in that same sort of white robe with this sash, and this whatever, I think they would have called it blasphemous for an entirely different reason. Not because he was the president, but because he portrayed God as black,
mm,
which is probably more true than any other phenotypical thing is that his skin was brown.
mm.
This is right, just in terms of geographically where in the world we're talking about. But it, that what you just said, Danielle, the idea that the majority of in the, maybe I want to make sure I heard you right, that the majority of people who call themselves Christians profess to be Christians, that their definition of whatever that religion is not an authentic, not a definition that fits the authentic expression of that religion. That's damn scary.
Like, I don't think if we go, we will share language with people, but we're not saying the same thing. That's what we're
Yeah.
discovering. There's all this language, but we are not talking about the same Jesus. We're not talking about the same God. We're not even talking about the same Bible verses.
Apparently we're not.
I know. That's my point.
That it's
Well,
just
and again, like to your
insane.
point, Rebecca, like I don't I think yeah, I think this existed back in 300 AD when they were canonizing what was scripture and what wasn't. And you had believers for hundreds of years that had followed the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary. Like, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait, and these random group of dudes are deciding what gets put in the New Testament and what doesn't. I think it's not new. And it's so troubling. And I like Randall Balmer. He is a minister and he's also a scholar of the Christian right, and he differentiates Christianity from Christendom. And I like that distinction. And he says, like, Christianity always functions best on the margins. And when
Mhm.
it is like these grassroots community, like faith led traditions, not these empire
Mhm.
state-led
Yeah.
organizations.
Yeah. I mean, one could argue that the heart of Christianity it was never meant to be about empire building. Um, and so as soon as you refashion it towards that end, you have fundamentally altered it in a way that is no longer Christianity, right? I mean, this is an argument as old as the biblical text, with Israel saying we want a king, and God saying you're not supposed to have one, right? And with Israel saying, we thought Jesus, you came to restore Israel to power, and Jesus is like, yeah, no, that's not what I'm doing, right? So you could argue, right, that it was never meant to be about bending the empire to the will of God. It like um that the point of the gospel is to subvert the power of of the empire, not to join it, not to take it over, and not to force everyone to abide by it, but to subvert it to the point towards the end that if the goal of empire is contrary to the gospel, if it harms people, if then the goal of Christianity is to step in front of that harm and stop it, right? So it, it's just uh like even this latest thing with Pete Hegseth and him quoting uh, um
Caesar?
yes,
Who's
and then try to
Caesar?
say, I think that's supposed to be Ezekiel. I'm really trying not to cuss, but
I
but
was first when I heard it, I was like, "Who's Caesar? Wait, did I miss something in the Bible?" Like, I thought Caesar was like on the other side. He was not like quoting scripture.
dude, I'm telling you, I rewound it like 3 times to catch the text reference, right? But my thing is that one of the things that's true about modern day evangelicalism is its emphasis on the primacy of the written text. Like, like at the heart of modern evangelicalism is this argument that the written text trumps everything. And if whatever you're thinking, doing, saying is inconsistent with the written text, then you are in the wrong, right? Everything goes back to whatever the interpretation is of the written text. That like it's the heart of modern evangelicalism. You got the you have a member of the presidential cabinet in front of the Pentagon quoting something that is not the written text and trying to pass it off as it is the written text. And you don't have a comment? You're not enraged like the violation of your own values is killing me.
But like what you said, where is the bottom? Like if the fundamental values of fundamentalist Christianity, which is like believing in the scripture, if that again is just dismissed, there really is no bottom, then is there?
Mm-mm.
I mean, at least not by their own definition. And I say that to say like I don't want this to come off as like I somehow don't believe in the importance of the written text, but if you say talk to another culture like Native American culture, right? Native American culture would tell you that the written text is important, but nature is equally as important in Native American culture as a source of revelation from the Creator God as is the written text, right? So the choice of modern day evangelicalism to put the written text front and center is a choice that not every culture makes the same choice, right? And I say that with the utmost respect and honor for what I learned from theologians in the Native American culture. I actually wish that I had that point of reference in my own faith. I think it would be much deeper than and richer than what I have if I was able to really grasp the idea that God reveals himself in a multitude of ways, and no one source of revelation is sort of more valid or more supreme than the next. I'm actually a little jealous of my Native American brothers and sisters who have that kind of expansive view, right? But I mean, let's just hold you to your own value system. You guys are the ones that put this up there, and you told us all it has to match the written text or it's out the door, right? And you've the things that have been done to people, the kinds of people that have been excluded, the kinds of life choices that have been condemned and shamed because it didn't match the written text, and you don't have a comment? You're not in the streets. Every evangelical preacher is not screaming at the top of their lungs for the past 2 Sundays about this BS. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
Caesar 2517.
So freaking crazy. I just cannot. I just, um,
I know. I think at the beginning, Rebecca, you said, or maybe Jenny was like, someone was like, is anybody going to say anything from these far right pundits? And I mean, I heard Tucker Carlson yesterday in mainstream media basically saying, like, if you're going to describe anything as the Antichrist, this would be it. And I'm like,
th that's like the third or fourth thing I've heard from Tucker Carlson in the last maybe 2 weeks that I've been like, I don't know that I ever thought there'd be a day where I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, did anybody see that? Let me repost this from Tucker Carlson.
or Marjorie Taylor Greene saying he's completely insane. Or yesterday, I mean, like, it goes a step further because he gets, these are all things I think meant to numb us out to the truth, actually. Because, you know, first, if you post a picture of Jesus as yourself as Jesus, you get away with it. And, you know, he's like, I don't want to call it the Strait of Hormuz. I want to call it Trump, the Strait of Trump, or whatever he said. But then yesterday, I heard him in an interview talking about the Epstein victims, and he said they don't want to go under oath. They don't want to go under oath. You know, they're victims or whatever they are. So I think, like, eroding, we see this, like, by the time you're appalled by one thing, all these other things barely make the news cycle, or how much we're inundated with lies constantly. And I think Tucker Carlson said that. Like, he talked about the inundation of just lies, just like huge lies. But I feel that, like, yeah, I always feel like prepared, like we're coming into the weekend. It's like, it feels like the shock zone. And I know, I don't know. I just, yeah, I'm always, I like being shocked because it means I'm still human. So when I saw the picture of Jesus and heard all this bullshit, I was like, oh man, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, I hopped on Truth Social myself to look at it. But I'm always aware that, like, it's like, how do you get bigger than what he did before? I don't know. Like, I guess that just kind of scares me.
I mean, I don't know who said this, but I've heard this sort of sentiment before that the two most dangerous positions you can take against evil is to underestimate it and assume it doesn't exist, right? Or to overestimate it and give it more power than it actually has, right? And it that's what I think about when you're talking about this sort of inundation of information, right? Meant to numb us out. And so we either end up on one of two extremes with all this stuff that he's doing, which is, oh yeah, well, like he does something every day, so I can't even pay attention to the last thing, which is that minimizing, that underestimating, right? Or the people who just get sucked into every conspiracy theory and come out the other side of all this conspiracy theories with these crazy notions of things that are like, I don't know if I could say that. And um, like I was in line at the grocery store recently, and the people in front of me were having a conversation with the checker about the Epstein files, and I was listening to the conversation, and they were fully into this sort of concept that all this other stuff is a ploy so that we don't actually find out what's in the Epstein files, right? And so I waded into the conversation and I was like, well, I mean, well, we already know it's bad enough. So what on God's green earth could be in there that they cared that they would actually start a war to prevent it from, because what we know is bad enough, right? And I'm not even going to repeat the answer that they gave me because uh, it was so just sickening that I don't even want to repeat like the answer that they have for what they think could be in there that's worse than is already there, right? But it does remind me of that, like so twisted in the machine of conspiracies that you're still not paying attention to what's actually happening in front of you. You're not engaged and you're not able to therefore respond or defend against it.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me feel like I think there is worse stuff in the Epstein files, and the way that it's being used feels like it's self gaslighting. Like, again, like you said, what we already know is enough. Even if there isn't worse stuff, which I'm sure there is, let's at least take what we do know and prosecute people and put people in jail and let the victims that want to talk talk. Like the fact that none of that has already happened is just atrocious.
Which, if you're quoting fake scripture, you can get away with anything.
I mean, and the audacity to be lecturing the Pope on what he does with theology and then quoting fake scripture. Hmm.
Mhm.
It just, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the word he used in English. It was like opine. Like, you better care if you're going to be opining on theology to the Pope. Like, that's all he fucking does. That's what he was elected to do. He got chosen. And I think, like, the better part is, like, all the cardinals and stuff, they're like, they got his back.
It makes me think of when someone asked Trump like what his favorite Bible verse was, and he's like, "Oh, it's hard to pick. I love them all." And the verse like, "Can you just name one?" He's like, "No, I couldn't." It's like, "Could you even name one?" Probably not.
Caesar.
I mean, again, like the abdication that's happening in Christian circles is just killing me. Like, I mean, I came of age in the 80s and 90s at the height of evangelicalism. And my whole faith is formed around the idea of like you got to go to the text. Like you got to go to the text and you got to do all the background work. You got to do all the cross references. You got to look up the Greek word. You got to pull out your Strongs and your concordance. Like I'm telling you, I did and do all of those things. Right. And and for to stand there on the microphone and actually quote something that is not an actual book of the Bible. Like I grew up going to vacation Bible school with the stupid Bible drills where they call out a name and you flip there as fast as you can and then you stand up so you can get your lollipop or whatever. I mean, like since I've been old enough to read, it has been like, do you know the 66 books and can you say them in order? Like all the things. And to get like I just cannot to get up on stage and I told you guys I rewound the clip like 3 times to try to catch the what book are you in? What verse are you in? What? And I was like, that is not what that and the fact that there's just not like outrage from every pastor in the country is what the heck?
I know that this is like not real and just wishful thinking, but I have to like I find myself wanting to believe that there's some writer out there who wrote this speech and like intentionally did that as an act of resistance just because they know like what bullshit it is and wanted to expose it. Like that's the version I like. I don't think that that's real, but I wish that were true. And
Listen
just
to. Oh, sorry, Jenny.
no, that's okay. Go ahead.
Listen to what the Pope said after all this bullshit. He said, "Woe to those who manipulate religion and the very name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth. It is a world turned upside down, an exploitation of God's creation that must be denounced and rejected by every honest conscience." That man is like, I'm not taking that. He's from Chicago, bro. Like,
He might be the actual definition of I'm hood and holy.
yeah.
Like that's it might actually be his picture in the dictionary behind that. Right, but I mean, you like it's a Quentin Tarantino film. Like it was written as a satire on purpose. And you're that ignorant that you can figure that out. I mean, like, what? What? Which makes me go, what else are you lying about?
Mm.
Because the spin on that now is, well, he got it. Some soldier gave it to him as proof that this is the prayer that they offer. You lying through your teeth. You're an it you, like somebody. I heard somebody on social media say that's what you get when you have like the Fox News anchor understudy as the Secretary of Defense, right? Like you don't know how to fact check your stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think he doubled down too. Like these people are doubling down. He was talking about, yesterday he was talking about how, the Pharisees were beating up on Jesus and saying he couldn't heal the leper's hand on the Sabbath. Jenny, you're the Bible trivia person. I don't
Who
remember the
said that?
Bible verse. Hegseth, and that he was comparing the media and the doomsayers to the Pharisees, and that Jesus was doing these miracles and Trump was doing this miracle of opening the Strait of Hormuz. And I was like, so it's not just even Trump posting this AI video. It's Paula White praying for him. Like you face persecution. It's Pete Hegseth the day after, he says like, oh, I was like a Red Cross doctor. But it's also Pete Hegseth then saying this prayer and then also saying like, oh yeah, the press is like the Pharisees. You guys are like the Pharisees and Donald Trump's like this miracle worker on the Sabbath.
And lest we forget, the strait was open before Trump started bombing Iran for no reason. Like, we wouldn't need a miracle if he hadn't done a senseless war in the first place, with no plan, no strategy, no concern for the innocent lives that are already gone forever.
Even what you just said, Danielle, about like all the ways in which all the players that have to be involved to 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 pull off even this one little piece, right? Either you have to be extraordinarily genius to plan the whole thing, which I don't believe because I haven't seen that level of competency, or we are in serious trouble because the level of corruption that will have to be true and how far embedded into eh, how much evil would have to have its fingers embedded into all this stuff to to orchestrate that it, it is like we're screwed. What's that Spanish word? Right? Like
Yeah.
I,
That's the
I'm
word. That's
right,
exactly it. We're chingados. Yeah.
right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't, but however that is, the level of orchestration that has to be true and how deeply embedded in our institutions this perversion of 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 faith has to be for us to be in this particular moment and to have our national leaders saying that kind of crap. I mean, you couldn't really say it before, but you really cannot. Like nobody better, even with a straight face, try to perpetrate the lie that we're a Christian nation. Like this, this might be. I mean, this is above my pay grade because I'm not a pastor, but this might really be like this is kind of stuff that made God flood the earth. Like it, it's right. I'm back to that Spanish word. Like, dude, we're done here. Like we just need a do-over. Cause what? and I don't mean to be morbid, but I also don't mean to be flippant. What is happening?
What are you thinking,
I
Jenny?
again I vacillate. Oh, sorry, there's a very loud car driving by. Um, I vacillate back and forth where I feel that Rebecca and I feel like what is happening? This has to be the end. And then existentially, I feel like I have to believe that there were people hundreds of years ago going, manifest destiny? What the heck is that? Like,
Right.
what are you saying? God ordained you to go murder and remove these people from their land. Like, I have to believe that there have been people throughout all of time that have seen through the facade of this. It
Right.
does feel like the stakes are much higher in an age of nuclear weapons and whatever weapons we don't even know of, and our dependency on electronics and a million other things that make it feel really scary. And I think that type of abuse of religion and God's name to justify horror has been around probably since the creation of religion in the first place in many places, like that have been used to say, well, this is what we need to do because
Right.
God is telling us.
Right. I mean, I think yes, I do agree with you. And it's one thing for those forces to be around, but and for people to go like, okay, that needs to be eradicated, right? And the notion of eradicating that pushes it to the margins, right? Right. It- it's another thing entirely when what used to be on the margins is now front and center as mainstream acceptable behavior. Right. And so I mean, both are dangerous and both are bad, but yeah, I don't know what is going to happen. Then I don't know what is going to happen on the front of faith, right? And I mean that in the sense of like there is the credibility of the church it's non-existent at this point. Nobody's probably listening to anybody else except for Pope Leo. Right, right. Like, and I'm like, at this point, like, I might have to convert to Catholicism. Just, you know what I mean? I mean, the ripple effect of that over the next 20, 50, 75 years is gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing.
I just keep thinking of, have you seen One Battle After Another, Rebecca?
Mm-mm.
Okay, gotta go watch it. But there's this Mexican guy in it, and he's like, Bob Ferguson is like freaking out. He's freaking out. He's like getting all stressed, because he's worried about the police. He's worried about ICE and all this stuff. And he says something like, "Hey, homie, we've been doing this for hundreds of years, and we're still here." That's the problem. It's like
Mhm.
even no matter what Hegseth says, he can't erase us. Can't erase you, can't erase me, can't erase us. And I think that's what drives them actual crazy. I've been thinking about it.
Mhm.
They can do all of these things, but they can't wipe away the fact that there's just something good about us.
Mhm.
There's not enough bad they can do to us to take away their sins. I just don't think they look to Jesus to take away their sins, actually. I think they look
Oh,
for
they
permission to
said
do
point
more
blank, we
sin.
don't do that because apparently
Yeah,
the president doesn't have any sins. He's never done anything that requires forgiveness.
that's my point. Like, well, maybe Tucker Carlson's right about the Antichrist thing. I don't
Mm.
know. Like, I was talking about it with Luis. I was like, maybe I don't know if he's the Antichrist of the scriptures, like, whatever that is,
Mhm.
but maybe he is an Antichrist. Wasn't, maybe Hitler was that same thing too.
I actually heard a sermon recently, maybe in the last year. He's a guest minister. He was a guest minister at Jamal Bryant's church that I watch online. I watched him online. The guy's from Nigeria, and it is one of the most brilliant sermons I've heard in a long time. But what he basically argued in the sermon is that what the United States has done in terms of colonialism and manifest destiny in the name of the gospel, it is itself the spirit of the Antichrist. And that in the sermon, what he was asserting is that the the assignment given to the Black church, and in that way, the assignment that like enslaved Africans and their descendants carry is to call that out, and to say, to sort of name that. It's a brilliant sermon. He traces it all the way through, like what happened to the nation of Israel. Like he goes all the way back through Old Testament to talk about what it means to say that sort of the spirit of the Antichrist is moving through a space, and what it looks like and sounds like and feels like and all that. So, um, yeah, I mean, there might be something to that, which again, from my evangelical background in the Left Behind series, I'm looking for the literal six on people's forehead because that's how we're supposed to know.
It's not gonna say six. It's gonna say Caesar.
Well, 666 was the numerical number for Caesar's
No
name.
way. Are you serious? That's
Yes, it
even
was
Wait, what? Say
literally
that
what?
again?
coded language to tell the church about the harms that were being enacted by Rome. Like if, if you know Revelation in the historical context, it's talking about present day things, and 666 was literally the numerical definition of Caesar's name. And anyone reading it in that time would have known exactly what they were talking about.
That's
See,
creepy.
now we done tipped over into the conspiracy theory. I
I don't know, man.
just
Candace Owens is right about some shit too with Charlie Kirk.
see what the heck? If we're in a place now where Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are correct, like something has shifted in with like astrology or something. What the moon must be in retrograde. I don't know, or whatever that thing. I don't
I
know.
I think, well, a broken clock is right twice a day, but I also think that they're seeing MAGA pull away from Trump and positioning themselves to still maintain power. I don't trust it.
Mm.
I don't
Oh,
trust
yeah.
Fair.
any of it.
Fair, but they are saying some pretty wild shit.
Yeah, they are, but it's also like Tucker Carlson is calling Trump out for saying things that years ago he praised Trump for saying that were not
Right.
so different. It's
Yeah.
just a total 180 because he can
Yeah.
see that people are not happy.
Which I think raises the question, Jenny, to the extent that you're starting to see people go like, "Okay, this isn't what I voted for. I got this wrong. I retract my support." Right. I do think there is a question on the floor of what is an appropriate response to that sentiment. Right.
Right. Well, I think it's like we were talking about with accountability. Like I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene on an interview where she was called out for the role she played in empowering Trump and getting him elected, and she totally like white lady freaked out and like told the reporter, "You're political too." And there was no sense of like remorse. And I haven't seen that from Tucker Carlson. I haven't seen that from Candace Owens. I've seen that from no one going, I played a part in this and I have to atone for that. I'll
Yeah.
believe that, maybe a little bit more at least, when there's ownership and accountability for being a part of the MAGA machine in the first place.
Fair.
White lady freak out. That's a technical term, right?
It is. It's a very technical term.
There's a guy on the internet, isn't Tyler Merritt? I can't remember his whole name, but he does this segment called "What in the White Lady Did I Just See?"
Oh yeah, I've seen that. It's freaking hilarious.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Um, I think, Jenny, to your point, a few years back when um sort of the bottom fell out underneath what's his name, Rick Warren. Um, I remember seeing him post on social media something of like, I've had this sort of come to Jesus moment. I realized I was wrong about women in ministry, right? And my response to that was like, dude, I need more than a post. Like you single-handedly built like half the infrastructure around this deal. Like you actually built some of the institutions that have perpetrated this. You wrote all these books, and so I need more than a than a than a 200 character text that says I got this wrong. Like I need you to write the treatise on why and how and theologically what you understand to be different than you did 5 years ago when you made millions of dollars off all those books. So so in that sense I'm going like, yeah, I totally agree with you of like I would like to see way more than just the saying I got it wrong. I need to see like I want you to actually dismantle some of the infrastructure you built and then build something better in its place.
Okay, y'all. I'm going to leave it on that note. I got a client. I love you.
Love you.
Bye.